you were to parse Maxim products into categories, you would come up with two main groups. The products that use a taller receiver similar to that of the HK416, and the other group that are compatible with standard AR parts. The MD1505 is in that category, but that's where its similarities to the standard AR deviate. You will notice that the 1505 is very short. That is accomplished by employing a reduced carrier. To achieve mass balance, the buffer has also been redesigned and moved forward, taking advantage of the receiver geometry to act as a buffer channel. The buffer tube is therefore similarly reduced and is milled to accept a 1/4 inch drive so that you may loosen it for maintenance. While this firearm is offered in pistol configuration, this is an SBR, and the stock we're using is Maxim's SCW. It runs on 2 steel rails with preset positions, and the butt plate has some aggressive texturings to stay in put when wet. The adjustment is activated with a toggle located on the port side of the assembly. The stock also includes a QD point mounted in steel for integration of a sling. Moving on to controls, Maxim uses my favorite charging handle, the Radian Raptor. Why fix what isn't broken, right? The Reptilia grip is of the reduced angle variety to lend itself to a more squared up shooting position. Also included are ambidextrous magazine release, safety selector, and a sigh of relief from me with a forward assist. The handguard is attached by the cam method, which eliminates the need for external anti-rotation tabs, and that handguard extends past the barrel with all the M-lock save the top rail, which is 1913 rail. That top rail is continuous without a gap bridge present in many other rails, making it more compatible with full accessory integration while matching the receiver contours to eliminate snag points. Maxim includes a hand stop, which is absolutely necessary, and there is one section of spring-loaded aluminum M-lock accessory rail. The heart of any rifle is its barrel, and the 1505 is built around a 5.5-inch chrome moly vanadium barrel with a proprietary gas length, and that fixed block is pinned into place to prevent it from coming loose. The barrel is rounded out with a muzzle booster dubbed the Hate Brake, and this is a 2-piece device that reminds me a lot of an AK booster, but anyway, it increases the dwell time to shore up the reliability of that short gas system while acting to reduce recoil. And lastly, for those of you who are interested, this unit is in the urban gray color scheme. Today's word is absurd. I have put so much glass on top of this thing that I don't think it's actually possible to put any more glass on there without getting to the point where we start leading the objective lens. This scope will never be the same if we have to scrub that objective. What we're doing today is accuracy. Now, I don't expect sub MOA performance out of this gun because it's so little. What I have done is I've brought 3 different loadings of 300 Blackout out here, and what we're going to do is look for 2 main things. One, will it stabilize those projectiles at those various weights, and then generally, what does the accuracy look like across the 3 out of this little tiger here. We're going to go ahead and lead off with the 220 grain. To the 150 grain. And then lastly, we're going to move on to our 125 grain. These things are pretty. Y'all know the print order, ouch, and I don't. So I'm going to have to make some assumptions here. And I guess that if I screw it up, you can make fun of me in the comments below. But I think from what we have here, it's easy to see that the gun pretty much does not care for the 220 grains. So the super heavy stuff is pretty much out when you're looking at performance and accuracy. Now, when we go to the 150 grain or the 125 grain, we do get substantial performance increase when it comes to accuracy. I would say that this shows that the 150 grain is superior in this gun to the 125 grain, but only marginally. I will have the measurements for you on screen somewhere in here. I have to go back to the shop to get my calipers. I don't bring them out here anymore because I left them out in the rain last time. So I know what you're saying. That's an itty bitty barrel. And the most logical question would be to ask, how much velocity are we going to lose from that 5.5-inch barrel compared to a full-length barrel? And so I went out to try that, but what I didn't really account for was the dual impact of the cold and the concussion from the hate brake. Totally killed my chronograph. But before it died, a most valiant demise, it gave us one usable piece of data. And from that, if we use that as our figure, then we end up with a roughly 30% loss in the factory stated velocity on the side of the ammunition, which is pretty good considering that we're missing what people would consider most of the barrel. I had intended this to be a night test gun, as in I was going to mount a bunch of cans on it and things like that. Well, the configuration that it showed up in, it's not really possible to mount a can on. But then if you look at their website, it says all over it, do not mount cans on our guns, it'll void your warranty. And I'm like, well, crap. That's not really what I wanted. And then I shot it at night.
What we're going to be doing is I have brought out our little pup here, as well as another 300 blackout rifle. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot the regular 300 blackout rifle unsuppressed and suppressed, and then we're going to compare it to the flash performance of our little Maxim here.
So while its performance under the PVS-14 was not as prolific as, say, a fully suppressed gun, what I would say is that you can expect performance at night roughly close to that of the first round pop from a suppressed gun. On to critiques, and that means it's about to get fairly subjective around here, so fair warning, and please bear with me for a few minutes. Now, I have really two critiques that I want to voice in today's video. The first one is a substantive issue having to do with their marketing, specifically on the hate brake. If you visit the hate brake page, you will see the term significantly reduces recoil used. If you are using the term significant, that means that it must be statistically significant. I went out and tested to see what the recoil reduction is with our normal recoil testing apparatus that we use for suppressors. And it came back at 8.7%. Now, here's the thing. I only run 5 replicates on these tests, and it's, in my opinion, a waste of ammunition to run more unless we're doing it for a specific reason. That is not good form to run a statistical analysis on replicates of 5. However, what I will say is that 8.7% reduction is a very thin margin to run any kind of statistical significance test on. I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that I really hate it when gun companies use the term significant for anything. Unless, like, right underneath of that, they publish like 1,000 rounds of recoil data. Moving on. Sorry about that, guys and gals. My second critique is possibly more nitpicky than the first, so let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. When I see a gun like this that has an MSRP right around the $2,000 range, I think that gun is shooting for the premium tier, and if this gun is shooting for the premium tier, that means it needs to be 100% ready to go, ready to rock and roll, squared away. Then why, when I look at this gun, does it have a flat trigger guard instead of an enhanced trigger guard that you can put things like winter gloves in it and things like that? That is especially troubling to me because I believe that Maxim Defense is located in Minnesota. Yes, Minnesota. I am correct. It gets frickin' cold in Minnesota. How is it that you're making guns in Minnesota and you have no preparations for winter whatsoever? It doesn't make any sense to me. I guess the other argument could be made for accoutrements like anti-lock pins, maybe some storage in the grip there for a spare bolt or something like that. There's definitely a little bit of space left in this gun at that $2,000 price point that I would expect to see filled in for that kind of money these days. I've been trying to keep videos under 10 minutes to compensate for the destruction that TikTok has inflicted on the American psyche. So thank you for watching, and thank you to those who contribute directly to the channel to keep it running. And you should see some of their names on screen right now.